Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Thursday evening Facebook Live. My name is Sarah Edwards. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I come to you guys live every Tuesday and Thursday to show you a fun new project. Whew, that's a mouthful every time I say it. I got to figure out a way to shorten that a little bit. But good evening, everybody. Hopefully, you guys had a good day. I didn't get out into the studio till later this afternoon. I did a bunch of house chores, laundry. Thank the Lord, the laundry hamper is finally empty. It won't be empty for very long because I'm sure my husband's already showered and put his dirty clothes in there. I wish it would stay empty longer, but it doesn't. But that's okay. So I didn't get out till about 10 or 11, but I was able to crank out some of the Christmas Stamp-A-Stack cards. They're so cute. I can't wait to finish all of them to show you guys what you guys can pick from. So the Christmas Stamp-A-Stack is I will create a card. You can pick between, I don't know, I usually make 8 or 10 cards, and you can pick one, two, three, you can pick them all. And you tell me how many you want. I like to do groups of 10 or 20 per section. So you can say, I want 20 of number one, 20 of number four, and 20 of number seven. So you get to pick which Christmas cards you want to make. And I cut everything, I prep everything, and I have it ready for you to assemble. A lot of people just do the stamping and then assemble once they get home, but you're more than welcome to do both here. So that is what I was working on today. I know it's still 160 degrees in Arizona. We shouldn't be thinking about Christmas, but we do need to start early. And it does take me a while to do the prep work since we don't have Steven running the embossing machine. So I have to start super early. Good evening, Valerie. Good evening, Marie. If you're just logging on, say hi so I know you're here. So today's card, so on Tuesday, I told you I prepped for today's card as well. My order did arrive, but then when I came out this morning, I decided to make a different card. They're both super cute. I am going to make the one that I was planning on making today. I'll make that on Tuesday. We're going to do a different fun fold tonight. And I love, love, love fun folds. And this one is super easy. We are actually going to make two. One of them we're going to do from start to finish, even cutting all of the designer series paper and doing the score marks. And the other one I already pre-prepped, so that one will go a lot quicker. So let's get going because I have lots to show you guys tonight. Good evening, Jane. Okay, let me just make sure we are live on my iPad so I can try and read comments as we are crafting. And there we are. Okay, so let me show you the card that we're going to be doing first. So I decided I wanted to do the hippos, but with this designer series paper, I didn't think the hippos like popped as much as I wanted it to. So I switched it up to the ladybugs, and I brought in the little tiny daffodil or daisy, the medium daisy punch, and put a little punch at the bottom. And then I put a little sentiment on the side. So you guys ready for the opening? So you open it and it's like this. Super cute and super fun. You can really use any of our shapes. You could do the squares, you could do the circles, any shape that you have two of that are similar in size, you could definitely use for this card. But I brought in the stylish shapes. I literally use these on everything. So I brought in the stylish shapes. These are the squares that I was talking about that you could use as well. So you have lots of different sizes. So I used the second largest, the third largest, and then this one here, the second smallest for the little sentiment. So those are the three of the dies that I used. Let me set those aside because we will need those. Here is the Hello Ladybug. I only used this sentiment right here, make your greatest wish come true. I used that, and I might do hello or my friend. I need to send a card to a friend of mine that her husband isn't doing so well. So I thought she might just need a little pick me up. So I might change up the sentiment on these guys. Let's see. Oh, here is the Daisy Punch, the medium daisy, and I used that with it. And let me bring in the designer series paper that I used. So sometimes it's hard for me to decide what designer series paper to use. So I use this in a couple different classes. So if you got the class to go, you actually have a full pack of this designer series paper that you can play with. So this is called the T Boutique 6x6 designer series paper. For the one that I just showed you, this is the opposite side, and I used this for that one. And I did cut out the wings out of the designer series paper as well. But for the one we're going to do from start to finish, I love this side of the designer series paper too. I love the bright, bold, beautiful colors, but I also love the tempting turquoise. Oh, it is not tempting turquoise. I can't believe I just said that. Tahitian Tide. I love the Tahitian Tide. Okay, so to my benefit, Tahitian Tide and Tempting Turquoise are really close, and I really, really loved Tempting Turquoise as well. Whew, that's a mouthful. Okay, has anybody else logged on? If you're logging on and watching, say hi so I know you're here. Okay, so let's start with the paper that we're going to be needing. So this is our cardstock, and it measures 8.5 by 5.5. You can take a screenshot of this. I know my sticky note is pretty much the same color as my cardstock, but I didn't have any other mini sticky notes. But also all of the dimensions are in before I go live. I type them in there as well. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, and I'm going to score it at 4.25. So I brought in my scoring tool, and I'm going to score it right at 4.25. I'm going to remove my sticky note so we don't accidentally glue that to it. And we're going to set that aside. We will come back to that later. I have another piece of our basic white. So this one is a little bit different of score marks and cutting. So this is 4.25 by 8. Our paper comes 8.5 by 11. So you need to cut a little smidgen off the 8.5-inch side, and we're going to cut it at 4.25. We're going to score this guy in 2 spots. We are going to score it at, so here it's 8.5 and then 5.25. So we're going to put this up at the 8-inch side. I'm sorry, did I say 8.5? I meant 8. So it's 8 by 5.25. So we're going to score this at the 4-inch mark, and we're going to score this at the 6-inch mark. So that is going to give us this piece so we can write our sentiment on the inside and then have our little flap on the side. So that's what that score mark is for. We're going to set that aside. And then let's bring in, we have another piece of basic white, 4 by 5.25, and that is just going to be our layering piece. Good evening, Heather. I'm just going over all of the papers that we're going to be needing. So here is the designer series paper that I'm going to be using. We are going to cut this at 3 3/4 inch by 5, and then we're going to cut a little smidgen at 1 3/4 by 5. And then we're going to use a little bit of the scrap for the wings. So this is the 1 3/4 by 5, and then this piece is the 3 3/4 inch by 5, and then the little scrap for the wings. So let's go ahead and bring in our trimmer. And we're going to start by cutting this at 3 3/4. And I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to cut it at 5. So there we go. This is the piece we're going to use to cut our wings. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to bring this piece back in, and we're going to cut it at 1 3/4 by 5. So literally, this is all the scrap you are going to have left over. And you could actually put it on the inside piece if you wanted to. We'll see. I'll set it to the side, and we'll see if I remember to go back to it. So that is all the cutting and scoring we're going to be doing. So this is kind of how we're going to assemble this card. So we have our piece of designer series paper, and we have our basic white. We're going to lay this in the center, kind of pretending that we put glue on the back of it, but we're not going to glue it just yet. I am going to put my largest circle in the center, And I'm going to put the next size circle right inside. And then I'm going to grab a piece of Post-it note tape. I think that's what it's called. And I'm just going to hold this in place. And I don't really want my designer series paper to be cattywampus, so I am just going to grab another small piece and hold down my designer series paper to the basic white. So now we can run this through the embossing machine. I did bring it over, so we can do this really quick. We're actually going to use the embossing machine twice. So I'm going to set this down, making sure that nothing shifted while I was moving it. Everything still looks pretty good. That tape actually holds on pretty well. I'm going to slide in my top base, and I'm going to crank this through. And I'm going to go back one more time just because it's a tiny bit thicker. And I'm going to set this aside because we're going to use it one more time. And then we can pop these guys out. Let's take this tape off first. The one nice thing about this tape is, as I go to say it, it doesn't rip your designer series paper. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully I just didn't say something and then I go to rip it. It is a really good hold though. So you're just going to gently pull that off. There we go. We're going to use that again. Oops, stuck to my finger. Okay, so this is now what we're left with. We're not going to be using this guy. And we're not using this one, so you can get rid of those or save it for another project. But we are going to possibly use both of them, if not just this white piece. So I'm going to set those in front of me for now. So now what we're going to do is bring in our card base. I'm going to go ahead and fold it and give it a good score. Make sure your card is going to be opening the right direction. And I am just going to glue this piece down for now. I will show you in a second why. Literally, this is like phenomenal. This is what's going to make your card pop. So I'm going to glue this down. There we go. That's pretty perfect. Now we're going to take the large circle. So this is the large one. Remember how we put these two together? We're not going to use the center one. We're just going to take this larger one and we're going to lay it inside the white piece. And when you kind of turn it, it will fit into those grooves that are in your cardstock. So these little niches right here, your circle will actually fit really nice in there. So then you're going to grab your tape again, put that on, and we're still going to use this guy, so I'm just going to set it to the side. Bring in your embossing machine again, and we're going to open your card base up. That is like a given. Open it up, otherwise you're going to poke a hole in your backside as well. That's funny, you're going to poke a hole in your backside. We don't want any holes in our backside. We're going to run this through once, and then I'm just going to go back. There we go. Sorry, I didn't want everything to fall. So now we can peel this off. And look what we just made. We made our little peekaboo hole. So why I didn't glue all three of these pieces together and run it through one time is our dies are only going to cut through so much. And designer series paper, you can definitely get away with running two at the same time. And then a designer series paper and our basic white is pretty much the max that this is going to cut. I would not recommend cutting anything more than designer series paper or basic white. You could get away with two pieces of basic white running through with one die, but nothing more than that. It won't cut, and then you'll just get frustrated. So that's why we had to do the two-step cutting. So now what we can do is go ahead and glue this piece down. It's so hard to glue this side down because I love the teapots too. So add a little bit of adhesive. And now we're going to just line all of these circles up. Make sure you're lined up on your edges. And voila, there we go. We now have your peekaboo card. It might actually be called a peekaboo. I have no idea. Okay, so let's concentrate on the inside. So this is a piece that is 8 inches by 5 1/4, and in the beginning we already scored it at 4 inches and 6 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it right in half. Hello, Stephanie. How are you? I just saw that you logged on. And then we're going to line up. Okay, sorry, let me start from the beginning. So we scored it, or we folded it in half. So this other score line is going to go backwards. And give that a good score. And let's score both of them together because we want this guy to lay down super duper flat. So that is what's going to give us the mechanism. So let's go ahead. This is going to get, we're going to put adhesive on the back side, and this is going to get lined up just like normal. So we'll go ahead and do that. So you have your 1/4 of an inch all around. That looks pretty good. We're just going to hold that there for a second. Let's go ahead and close our little flap. And do you guys kind of see where we're going now with this? Isn't it so fun and so easy? There's a bit of a steps to it, but it actually is super duper easy. Okay, so before we do anything with the circle or decorating the circle, we need to concentrate on this piece, because if you worry about the circle right now, you're going to glue it down and you're not going to be able to put this little strip on the edge. So this is the 1 3/4 by 5 inch strip. We're just going to tack right down. And you could really use this side of the designer series paper and do the teacup dies. Oh, that would be super duper cute as well. So there is that. So now we have our little working mechanism. Okay, so now let's concentrate on the outside. This is the Tempting Turquoise. I said it again. This is the Tahitian Tide that we cut out of the cardstock. Remember that piece we cut out? We're going to totally use it. So I'm going to come in with some dimensionals. And I only want my dimensionals to go right on the edge, but not going on top of that circle. And I probably am going to go a little overkill with the dimensionals, but I'm kind of an overkill kind of girl when it comes to dimensionals. And I am going to put one right in the center. See, Jessica, I'm not the only one who says Tempting Turquoise. Okay, we're going to peel the back off. All the backings are off. Let me throw those away so they don't end up on the floor and all over the dogs, because that does happen. Now we're going to take the Tahitian Tide circle, and I'm going to start on this end and then lay it down on the dimensionals. So ready? Voila! Is that not super duper brilliant? Oh, love it. Okay, so now what we can do is we can use this piece. My original one, let me bring it in. My original one, I did the basic white piece in the center with the butterfly, but let's punch out the butterfly and we will discuss amongst ourselves. Well, you can put it in the little chat too, which one you like better. So you can tell I just used a piece of scrap. I was using this for the gnome set. So it was the perfect size. So I'm going to go ahead and punch out the ladybug. And then I am going to go ahead and punch out the daisy. And we need a basic white daisy as well. Thank you, Karen. That is super sweet of you. I love it. Okay, so here is the basic white. Oh, let's grab, remember this is the scrap that we cut off the bottom of this? let's do his wing. Not 100% sure butterflies have Tahitian tied. I almost said it again. Not sure butterflies have Tahitian tied wings, but they are on this card. So there is it on basic whites. So let's change this and put on the piece. Remember, we cut this out of the center of the designer series paper. I don't know. Which one do you guys like better? So I'll just wait a few minutes because I know that there is a delay. So I'll just wait. So just say white, basic white, or you don't even have to spell. Just say polka dots. Polka dots are white. I'll just wait a couple seconds, and while we're waiting on that, I will show you how I glued down our little daisies. So I put the basic white on the bottom, and I did the Tahitian tied on top. So we're going to grab a mini glue dot. Oh, okay, Jessica says white. I'm going to put a mini glue dot right in the center, and I'm going to offset it a tiny bit. Let's see if I can do this. These little guys are super duper tiny. There we go. And I will put another mini glue dot on it to secure it to our card. Okay, so Heather says white. And then, okay, yes, you do lose the ladybug a little bit. I definitely agree. And Jessica says white. Okay, so we will do white. So I am going to go ahead and glue this guy down. I'm going to glue that right in the center. And I did not pop up my ladybug. I don't know if you can see, I didn't want too much thickness to go through the mail. So because the circle is popped up, I did not use dimensionals on the ladybug. So let's put some adhesive on the ladybug. I should have put his wings on first, but that's okay. It'll still work. And usually, Vicki taught me this trick, is if you put a mini dimensional on the back of it, the butterfly wings kind of stand up a little bit and it looks like he's flying, but we're not going to make him fly today. Maybe another day. So I just put a mini glue dot right in the center and tack that down. And then I did pre-cut one of the circles, and this is out of the second largest or the second smallest circle for our little sentiment. And I think I do want to change up my sentiment because my friend really needs some love right now. So if anybody is willing to send a card, send me a message after this Facebook Live, and I will get you her address. She just needs a little bit of extra love. It's a good day, my friend. Hello, there's hello. Hello, my friend. That's what we're going to do on this one. Just want to put a smile on her face. So let's get the Tahitian tied ink and ink up the hello. Perfect. And then I'm going to do my friends. There we go. Super cute and not a lot of stamping. Not that we don't like stamping, but it really is not a tragic amount of stamping. So the little daisies, is that what they are? Yeah. I'm going to stick down, and then this one I'm going to glue down as well. So I'm just going to put that right there. And then I did bring over, I should have wrote down the name of these guys, and I didn't. I wanted a big guy to go right in the middle. There we go. See how quick and easy that is to put together? I really hope you guys decide to make some of those. Okay, so we have one left and it is already prepped and ready to go. I am using the same designer series paper and everything. I just will quickly put it together to show everybody. So I already cut all of these. I actually didn't glue this piece down. I was able to just line it up to run it through. Thank you, Darlene. So this is Petal Pink. Same designer series paper, is from the Tea Boutique. So I'm going to line that up, make sure it looks good on all the corners and edges. And then I'm going to put this side down. And this one I use the flowers because I think ladybugs like flowers. So that's why I chose to do this one in flowers. Let's score that. I usually score before I glue, just in case I make a mistake and I have to rescore that. Okay, so there's this. So let's fold our insert piece. Just make sure your pieces are all lined up at the edges. Sometimes when you score, it does get a little cattywampus. So for this card, you definitely want to make sure everything is nice and even. Let's glue this down. That was definitely a lot of glue. I had a little too much pressure on there. Hopefully it doesn't eke out my edges. Okay, so I went ahead. I have this piece. Let's glue that down. So if you want to make this card and you didn't write down all the instructions and measurements, it's okay. It is on the description before I went live. So there's that. And now we can add some some glue dot, some dimensionals. I'll get it together one time. Let's do one right down at the bottom, and then we're going to do one right in the center because we don't like anything that sags. Peel these guys off. I'm going to throw them away so they don't end up all over the floor. So this is the piece that I cut out of the original card base. So I'm going to tuck it over to the left and then set it down. I tried to do it the other way and it didn't work so swell. So that's why I suggest tucking it into the left side and then laying it down. So this one, oh, I thought I brought the other little piece. I was thinking on using the plaid. Oh well, we will just use the petal pink. So I'm going to cut a wing. There we go. And I do need another butterfly body, ladybug body. Apparently I have butterflies on the brain. So we're going to glue this down. There we go. Okay, this one might be my favorites. Okay, these colors are absolutely phenomenal. I really hope the Facebook Live does it justice because this is absolutely gorgeous. Yes, you do see a lot of gnome feet. It's a scrap piece of basic black. There we go. And I might do opposite on this one because it's kind of a lighter background. I think I am. So the darker background, I put the basic white daisy on the bottom. The lighter background, I think I'm going to flip it and do the opposite. Yeah, I think I am. Yep. That's what we're going to do. So tuck that right there, bring in your little circle, and I actually think I might do the same sentiments. Hello, my friends. Yes, I think there might be a couple other friends that I need to send this to. So my friend is already on here, so I'm going to stamp this at the bottom. There we go. Just need to make sure the hello is cleaned off so I don't cross-contaminate. To hello. Isn't that an Adele song? Hello. I won't sing, I promise. I'll spare you guys. But it is a good song. I sing it in my car with the windows up all the time, and I'm really, really good. There you go. And then last but not least, let's add some little gems. And let's be a little adventurous And let's add two to each side. Jessica, I think you are right on. I think this is my favorite as well. Uh-oh, where'd he go? There it is. I think this one might be my favorite. And I really thought the Tahitian Tide one was going to be my favorite because I love that color. But honestly, I do think you are right. Absolutely correct. Okay, let's get all of this junk out of the way so I can bring in all the cards. Hopefully I didn't go over on my time. Oh, I'm right at 30 minutes. I try to stay at 30 minutes, but sometimes we go over a little bit. So there you go. So this is all using the Tea Boutique Designer Series paper. And you open it up and you have a gorgeous place to write your sentiment and an even more spectacular card. It does, there it goes. You just have to kind of push that down a little bit so it flips through the circle. And then it lays down totally flat. So there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your live tonight. And Tuesdays is actually going to be not a fun fold, but it is kind of a wow card. So I'm super excited to show you guys what that one is. I really had a hard time deciding on what to do, but I'm glad I did this one today. I actually made this morning. So I am super excited that it turned out, and I didn't really have any mess ups besides the Tempting Turquoise and Tahitian Tide, but that's okay. That happens. Okay, if you need anything, please feel free to reach out. I will be around the entire weekend. And then if I don't hear from you, I will see everybody on Tuesday for another live. We'll chat with you soon. Bye bye.